at this moment. So we need 3 for me to call the meeting to order. So it's 7 o'clock, but I can't call the meeting to order until I see 3.
Dave will probably come on. Look
What's
for
that,
Dave.
John?
I said Dave will probably come on.
Yeah, well, and that might be him right there. So, hey, Dave, is that you? Who was on? Someone got an extension that ends in 928. All right. Well, again, we're not. What's that?
Sorry, I had some problems with one computer. I had to run to another one.
Oh, Michael, it's you. Okay.
I'm here.
All righty.
Not a quorum.
We now have a. Oh, there you are. Yeah, there you are. So yeah, we're not sure who 928 is. It seems like there's some.
Oh, hi. Everybody can hear me, right?
We can now, Dave.
Good, good. Alice, you can just hang up. Thanks.
All righty. All righty. Well, let me ask Alice. Let me ask Allison. Are you guys all set?
Yep, we're all set.
Okie dokie. And we are on record. All right. Allison has a helper today, so that's cool. That's way cool. All right. Well, look, I'd like to call to order a regular meeting of the Brookfield Inland Wetlands Commission. Today is Monday, the 22nd of March, 2021. My name is Sharon Fox. I act as the chair of the commission. With me here tonight is Mr. Michael Neustadt, who is the commission secretary, Dr. John Donovan, who is a regular member, and on the phone we have Mr. Dave Frankel, who is an alternate. So there are 4 of us. I don't see anybody else at this moment. So there are 4 of us, so we all will be voting. We'll all be voting members this evening. Also with us is Alice Dew, who is the Wetlands Enforcement Officer, and Allison Kennedy, who is our recording secretary. So with that, we'll start the meeting here, and we can start with Wetlands Enforcement.
Hi. There has actually been 0 change on any of our enforcement issues. So we still have 148 North Lakeshore. And we have Gray's Bridge. He is going to court in April, so we should hear something back after that. And I didn't bring my enforcement report. The third one, sorry, the third one, there's been no change either. So the third one was right, 83 Candlewood Lake Road.
Okay.
So we'll see if anything changes next month.
All righty. Let me ask the commissioners, anything you want to bring to Alice's attention?
No.
Okay, all right. We don't have any active site inspection reports. Let's see, we have a public hearing. Let's go through the old business and then we'll come back to that. So on the old business, the proposed maintenance plan, I got over to the wetlands and I signed about a dozen, I think, plans a week ago. Well, I think last Friday. But I didn't get a chance to update this. So I'm going to make a motion to continue the proposed maintenance plan for the grounds at Huckleberry Hill School to our next meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Any discussion? Again, this one is just me tweaking that letter a bit. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Motion carries unanimous.
Sharon, can I ask if you can see and hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I just came back in and my regular computer just popped up.
Yeah. Yep. I can definitely hear you.
Thank you.
All right. The next we have, it's 1 Valley View Road. This was that above pool. This was pending the approval of the construction sequence. And I think we got that, right? Let's just check. I think that's what that one was. Let me just look at this. Let me just look at this one. Can someone maybe help refresh my memory on this one?
Yeah, they had an above ground pool and they were also going to install a fence around it. And I believe they added a little bit of deck. So you asked for them to modify their construction sequence to include everything.
Yeah, did we get it?
Yes, it's
Is that,
I'm
that's,
looking at the attachment that says construction sequence, but it's actually just a map.
yeah, it's just a map.
and at the bottom, yeah, I thought there was something that said future fence dimensions.
Well, there is a note.
Oh, yeah,
with it.
underneath, on the bottom to the left of lower left, you'll see in writing, silt fence to be erected and inspected prior to pool construction sequence, down at the very bottom of the
I see
drawing.
that.
Do you?
That's the sequence.
Oh, okay, that almost looked like a note.
Yeah, I had forgotten as well.
There it is.
To the possible necessity of a silt fence, don't we need a silt fence here?
I think they're talking about,
Probably not for the deck, though. I think, is that what they're trying to
yeah, what
convey?
they might add.
Yeah.
All right, this one looks straightforward. Anybody, any comments from comments from others? Gosh, I got so many of these things open now. All right, someone want to make a motion, or Michael, you want to do it, or you want me to do it?
Yeah, no, I'll make a motion in the matter of One Valley View, item number W-21-6, to approve the above-ground pool based on a map, a GIS map printed on January 29th, 2021, with notes appended to the bottom, subject to all the usual stipulations to be effective the day after publication.
I think that's everything. I got a second.
Second.
All right, thank you, Dave. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimous there. All right, we've got 100 Candlewood Lake Road. This is the school. This is the pending approval of the stipulations on the school project. Is there someone here from the school? I think I see some familiar names.
Hi, yeah, I'm here. Josko
Okay.
Date with O&G Industries, the project manager.
Yeah. I think what we were talking about, I did get a chance to look at, what was it, C130. And I think what we were looking for is, I said, what we would expect would be, an assessment that these wetlands, the hydrology is going to work. And did we get that? Is that here someplace?
Hey, I think you were gonna get something from MMI on that, or I think they spoke to you about it.
I don't have anything, or I don't know if you've seen anything. I don't have anything. What I have is 2 paragraphs that say that they're going to hire a soil scientist to put in some remediation and they're going to divert some water to it. But I don't have any assessment that says that this is going to be a success. And I don't have anything that shows, how this should be maintained.
I believe they're in the revised plans, but I'll let them speak to that.
Yeah, there is a 45-page attachment. I guess I would ask if it's in here someplace.
Well, I went through, I had a chance to go through it, and I actually looked at sheets. So again, if someone is here and can speak to it, and maybe you're on mute, maybe I'll just be quiet a second. But like I said, I did go look at, it's hard to print off here. I do have sheet C130, and that's what it talks about. Wetlands creation, mitigation, construction notes. That is here. But again, I don't have anything that says this is going to work. I don't have any assessment that it is going to work, and I don't have anything on the maintenance plan.
Sharon, I don't remember you asking for whether it would work from anybody. They were asked to show created wetlands.
Well, I respect what you said, but I distinctly remember asking about it because the one guy said he was
Okay.
going to get a text, from somebody during the meeting.
Okay.
But whether maybe I wasn't as clear as I could have been, but I mean, these guys are professionals. They know you can't just drop something in and not know it isn't going to work, or you have some assessment that it's going to work. So I don't know how to approve that. I personally don't know how to approve this without, some assessment that it's going to work and what their proposed maintenance plan is. So is there anybody here that can address that?
This is, excuse me, Eddie Wadowski from Tecton Architects.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out where we were because I know we did talk about it, yeah, we did get the text from Malone and McBroom during the last meeting,
Yeah.
stating essentially that we were putting wetlands back where wetlands had been before, and it was an extension of the area. So, based on that, we're expecting there to be a very high likelihood that the wetlands will do well. Yeah, you're right. I know we talked about having that. You were looking for that just, in a formal letter. And for whatever reason, I'm, we're all getting kind of punchy with everything going on.
I hear you.
Know where that letter,
I hear you on that part. You're preaching to the choir on that one.
Yeah, I'm asking about that. So I apologize. I don't have a great answer for you on that one. As far as the maintenance, I mean, the maintenance for this is the same. We already had documentation regarding the maintenance.
Sure.
This is an extension of, of what was there. So I don't think that anything further was required in that regard.
Well, I would think, I think it's just a matter of updating, the maintenance plan here, to make sure it includes that. And there's no misunderstanding that these are, these have a maintenance. And candidly, this is a creation area, so, there needs to be some more assessment on these things that, I believe you guys that you wouldn't have created something if you didn't think it was going to work. You guys are professionals. I totally get that. You have professionals, you're professionals on your staff. I totally accept that. We're just trying to get this in writing. We're trying to get it in documented. We're trying to make sure that everybody's all on the same page here. And I get it. Everything takes 10 times as long these days. And again, you guys, as I said, you guys do have an approval, but the final approval is pending getting all this, getting all this buttoned up. And so, it seems to me, like I said, we're going to be here in 2 weeks, so we'll just leave you here and give you another 2 weeks to try and get that together. Like I said, wetlands, the assessment, and what, making sure that there's a maintenance plan for this. So.
Could I ask who within your firm designed the created wetlands? And maybe that would be the person who would simply tell us their assessment and why they did what they did and how it will need to be cared for over the next few years.
Yep.
And I think too, Mr. Wadowski, like I said, and I appreciate that. And like I said, in the construction notes here, that you guys are going to, have a soil scientist. The ones I have seen, these guys want to write up a report, in terms of here's what was actually done, so that, again, because you may end up with some, in the field changes as you actually get there and start looking at these soils. So I think part of the creation process or part in the maintenance plan would be, like I said, first, an initial report of here's exactly what these ended up looking like. And that forms the basis, for your, for your maintenance plan.
Okay.
All right. Well, how about, well, I said, we'll be here. Are we here in 2 weeks? Let me just check. Our next meeting is April 12th, so maybe that's 3. Is that 3 weeks?
Um,
3 weeks.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. We're here in
Yeah,
3
3
weeks.
weeks.
Yeah, we're here in 3 weeks. Okay. So we'll leave you on the
All
agenda.
right, so if we have basically a letter saying, how likely we think it is that the
Yep.
the wetlands are expected to thrive and to either modify the maintenance plan or state that no modification is needed.
Yeah. Well, again, that something along the lines of these are going to have, and again, I think it's also, like I said, we do see a lot of the guys when it's done. I said, you guys do end up with, in the field changes. I mean, there's some things about here that just everybody says, oh, look at that. So I think at the end of it, we'd like just reports that here's the baseline, right? Here's the baseline for this wetlands, and here's where we ended up with the plantings, and this is what, we're going to be maintaining going forward a year.
Okay.
Excuse me,
as you're
Chair, and
saying at the end of,
Go ahead.
So essentially at the end of construction to be able to say, this is,
This is it.
or
This
to
is
have
it.
something that says at the end of construction that we're sort of saying, this is where we're starting from and
Right.
this is, okay.
Right.
just
Because
a
we made
minor note, the next meeting is 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Yeah, I went back to look. Yeah, I said
Okay,
2 and
sorry.
it went to 3. So
Sharon, as
Yes.
far as inspectors, do you want me to just get the name of one of each for the herpetologist and for someone to inspect the erosion control, or do you want several names?
I would think, like I said, it would be. I'm not too worried about the stormwater management process that they have. I am interested. I said this does require, the management to make sure that the turtles, are not run over during
Right.
construction. So that's definitely one individual. And again, they'll be providing reports as this is done.
Right.
I'm trying to remember a soil scientist to review an additional review on top of the wetlands creation and the remediation that they're doing on the others. Is that where you were going with that one to
Yeah,
refresh?
well, I'm
my
not
memory?
sure exactly how it's worded, but do you want one name for each? Or, if someone can do more than one, obviously.
If someone can
yours-
do more than one, if they've got, soil scientist credentials, and a background in,
Stormwater? Or-
Mm, again, I'll ask my fellow commissioners. I'm actually not too worried about the stormwater management
Okay.
on this one. I think that one is well under control. I think, like I said, with the remediation, the big remediation project they've got going, that's going to take some, some management. This is the wetlands creation. Again, always you're going to have some in the field changes, and then the herpetologist, to
Okay.
monitor, and set aside places and maybe even change the construction sequence. If we end up with turtles and big frogs wandering through there. So thank you for reminding me of that. If one individual can do the same, fine. I would guess probably would be easier to do 2 just to make it easier for somebody's, schedule to be a little bit more flexible. But
Okay, I'll find someone.
I don't
or
know.
2
Was
people.
that clear enough?
Yep.
Okay.
Hi, Sharon. This is Rob Tenza with Arcadis. I'm
Yeah.
hired as the owner's project manager for
Yep.
the MBC.
Yep.
So within our contract documents, if you reviewed some of the notes, it tells us that we're required to hire the consultants for the herpetologist and the invasive plant species in the soil wetlands. So I've gone out and reached out to several different consultants and have proposals. So the MBC is ready to move forward with approving and hiring that consultant. It would be Quinn Ecological out of Southington, Connecticut.
Okay.
Is qualified to handle all of our requirements, and he gave a proposal to do the herpetology, the training, the initial inspections, and the routine inspections. Do the invasive plant identification, and the 4 years follow-up reports, as well as the 4-year follow-up reports for the wetlands.
can you, that, maybe that'll do the trick. Can you just get, again, we don't care about, maybe black out whatever fees might be associated with that. Can you just flip over that, like the scope? Can you describe the
Yeah.
scope of that work and get that over to us? Again, we
Yes,
don't want to know
I
anything
could
about
send-
the fees. I don't
Okay.
want to know anything about the fees.
Yeah, I could send that over. Absolutely. I know we have a requirement to have, our initial inspection before April 15th. So I don't know if it's possible to have that reviewed and, get your blessing before the next meeting.
No, we can't do anything until we can't do anything except in a meeting. So
Okay.
you can get it over to Alice, the sooner you get it over to Alice, she could take a look at it. I mean, I think, let me open it to everybody else. If they've got people like that, planning and hiring, and you guys, I assume, will be willing to share the reports with us.
Yeah, there's a note within our documents that it has to go to the land use office. So that'd be directly to Alice. So she would get a report directly.
And actually, I did get the information from Rob already on Quinn, and I also looked them up as to their credentials, and they do seem very competent for all of it. They
So
do have it.
that could work, right, Alice?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I also reached out to Eric Davidson, and I guess he did some initial work on this project for your commission.
Okay.
But he works in conjunction with Mr. Quinn, and he didn't want to submit a proposal and compete on that. So he said, he vouched for David Quinn, saying that he's qualified as well. So.
Okay. All right. Well, again, why don't you get that scope over to us? Again, confirm. I said that that scope includes providing the reports, to us, because we're going to set you up here, in terms, we have a process here in our agenda. You probably saw it called,
Yep.
site inspection reports. So we're going to put, 100 Candlewood Lake Road on that, and eagerly watch the success here.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Okay, so
So,
if I'm.
Michael, just one second. Michael, John, Dave, any?
Okay. Yep. No, I'm good.
My only concern, as I said a little while ago, was the wetlands creation, which was added. The specifics of the creation was added since we approved the project, and I think everything else makes sense. And if what you're going to send us includes the details of the wetlands creation, how that it was deemed to be probably successful by the scientist, and the inspection would include the newly created wetlands, I would be very happy.
Yeah, I think we'll continue it pending what we're going to get from Mr. Wadowski. So, and I'm a chance to review, the Arcadis proposals there. So, if anything else, Alice, that we're missing, it's a big project, so it's easy for things to be, we don't want to miss anything.
Yeah, not that I noticed.
Okay. All right. Well, then I would like to propose that, I'd like to make a motion. I'll just do it to continue.
Excuse me.
I'm
Ms.
sorry. Did you have another question? Sorry.
I apologize if I'm kind of running over retreaded material. I just want to make sure that we're ironclad on what we need to get to you. And so if I may I just read what
Sure.
I have on my list?
Yep.
Confirm? All right. So to establish what the baseline for wetlands is at the end of construction.
Yep.
To provide an opinion on the potential success of the new wetlands area.
Yep.
To revise the maintenance plan to include the new area, and then to provide the proposal on the monitoring to be provided during construction.
I think that's it. Can you think of anything else you guys do this too, so.
Yep. Yep. No,
and I know
that's
everybody wants to do the right thing here, so.
It wasn't something else.
I think that's it.
Thank you.
I'll just be quiet for a second. All right, well then I'll make a motion, then we continue 100 Candlewood Lake Road, that is pending, which is the pending final approval decision of the stipulations till our next regularly scheduled meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Dave. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimous. All right, thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
next we have some other old business. This is 1923 Station Road. Someone here for that?
Yes,
Application.
Alan Rothman.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rothman. Do you guys have anything, do you want to point out that's new from the last time we were talking?
Okay, we don't have anything new. We're revising or tweaking the drawing and our plans to accommodate what we've heard at the last meeting. And we are working on stormwater management right now.
Okay. Yeah, and I appreciate that. I think the one thing that I said that caught my eye was I said, can we take that one corner of the building, which was feet, from the edge of that wetlands? Can we move that back or do something to try and keep that, that particular area close to that wetlands, as it is now? So.
And we heard you and we're working on that.
Okay, great. So do you need anything from us now? Otherwise we will, let's see, when is this thing? This is good till the 12th of May. So.
Right. So we plan to be at the next meeting in 3
Okay.
weeks.
All right, I'll just make the motion then to continue. I'll make a motion to continue let me stop for a second. Michael, Dave, John, anything you guys saw in the review you want to bring to their attention?
No,
No.
just awaiting any changes.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that was the only note I had when I looked at it. All right. All right, then I'll make a motion to continue 1923 Station Road, W-21-12 to our next regularly scheduled meeting. Have a second?
Second.
All right, I think I heard Michael there. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, guys.
Thank
See
you.
you in 3 weeks.
Yes.
All right. All right, we've got new business here. I've got 227 Candlewood Lake Road. It's W-21-13. Someone here for that application?
Russ, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Russell, can we just get your last full name and address, please?
Sure. Russell Postow, professional engineer with CCA LLC at 40 Old New Milford Road, Brookfield, Connecticut.
All right, Russ, we haven't talked to you in a while.
It's been a while, right?
Yeah, it's been a
Pleasure.
while, yeah. So tell us what, let's just take a quick look at this application here. 227 Candlewood Lake Road, total acreage 42,000 square feet, disturbed wetland areas 0, disturbed linear feet of watercourses 0, disturbed upland review areas 8,000 square feet. All right, why don't you tell us a little bit about this one?
Thanks. This whole area to the north of the existing building, almost to the property line, is existing boat storage. And it's just trailers randomly placed there. What they want to do is organize it. And more boats are now going not on trails, are being moved around with forklifts. So they need to flatten the area out to make it work. So we're reducing the amount of storage area, but we're organizing it. We remain gravel storage. We've added a wide, very shallow, not a swale, but a containment area for any silt that might get towards the wetlands. It's designed to be easily cleaned out if it has to be with a small machine.
So Russ, just remind me, I'm looking at the plan now, the building. Where is the wetlands?
The wetlands on the top of the page, they're to the east.
Oh, right. There they are.
They're all numbered in that. So it's quite a distance away from where we were working, but we felt that was the best place to put protection because the whole site is basically gravel back there.
Do you have a, let's see, let me just make this a little bit bigger here. From like wetlands. Looking at the flags here, like 3 and they run from the top left to right here, right? 3, 4, 5. What's the distance?
I don't remember the numbers.
Yeah, what's the distance? I mean, that looks like a pretty good distance, right?
What distance you looking for?
Well, like from wetlands, like the wetlands flag to, I don't know, the corner of where you're going to be excavating.
Lost my scale. I know where I'm getting one. Hold on.
I see 75 feet. I see over here on the right, you got 75 feet from those wetlands, and it looks like everything you're doing is outside of that.
We show the regulated area.
That's the regulated area is probably from the lake, right?
The regulated from the lake is at the bottom of the page. 200-foot regulated area is 75 regulated area from the rear wetlands, but the distance to the closest real work from the wetlands is about 140, 150 feet.
Yeah, the upland review area from those wetlands on, let's see, what would that be? The east side?
It'd be basically east.
From what I can see, looks like everything you're doing is outside of that regulated area.
Right, except the swale we're putting in.
Oh, okay.
Like I feel it'll be a permanent silt trap for the site.
Is that square thing with the
With the shading, with the hatch in it? It's called silt trap on the plan, right next to the wetlands.
Ah,
And actually, they use this area right now, so we're actually reducing the amount of storage area a little bit. So we're improving the area next to that wetlands, the activity in that.
sorry, I was focused on the wetlands and I wasn't focused on that little hexagon-shaped area.
We try to make it stand out the best we can without being
You
overpowering.
did a good job. I didn't notice it.
That's not a good job then.
I was looking for excavation. I wasn't looking for a silt trap.
Well, it may be a slight excavation because it's shallow. It's it's meant to be very shallow and to catch any silt that might get there.
Just the silt from your excavation?
Well, this is a gravel site. There's going to be vehicles traveling on it, and there's no real drainage structures to catch any silt, because it might fill up. So we're going to gravel the new area, level it out, and a couple of infiltration area in the new gravel parking area. We do have a retaining wall, and it was just my saying, what can I do to help these wetlands? That's what we decided to do, something simple, provide permanent protection.
So again, while I'm looking around the map, I may have missed. So what is this thing? You're going to be digging down. You're going to be digging down, digging out, and filling it with rocks?
No, it's going to be shallow excavation. The bottom will have riprap, and the slopes will be seeded with vegetation. Be grass slopes on either side. It's like a shallow, long hole in the ground.
Just with grass? And you said, did
I
I
would
hear
have some
riprap?
stone and I can find the detail. It's been a while since I looked at it too.
Yeah.
Tried making an application and screwed it up. So
Ugh.
it's 2 feet deep. The bottom is grass and the side slopes are stone. Prevent erosion.
Is this the thing called a gravel spreader detail?
Yeah, on our plan, it's called the permanent silt trap detail, but it's similar to a gravel spreader, but
Okay, there we go.
yeah. We don't have to do it, but I just thought it would be a good idea.
Ah, okay. Now I'm seeing the profile of the permanent silt trap. I see what you're talking about. Riprap along the side, stone along, and then soil and grass in the middle.
Right. And if it fills up in any silt, they can run a small machine through it and just scoop it out and plant and reseed it.
Okay. That might have been, that sounds like Dave.
Sorry, yeah, I just muted him.
Yeah. So again, sorry, where's this so the silt is just coming from the gravel. That's what this big gravel parking lot.
It's a gravel yard, cars traveling over it. Once in a while could loosen something. Hurricane comes, you always know what they're gonna do. We got some protection.
All right. And it's just grass. It's just grass and gravel there right now.
It's mostly gravel right now.
Okay. It's mostly gravel now. Okay. I think I got
Sorry
it.
to make it so difficult.
I think I have it.
apologize. Was that a meeting I could be pointing, you'd see it a lot quicker.
Yeah, it would be much easier as if we were
Those
right
days
there.
are coming.
It is. All right. I think I understand it, but I've been talking here a little bit. Let me be quiet. All right. I'm not hearing any questions from Michael, John, or Dave.
My understanding, I will bring in for a few seconds. My understanding is you're using the property or the area for the same thing you're using it now, but because you were formerly just bringing in trailers, you now want to bring in the boats with a different piece of equipment that needs more level ground to operate successfully, and so you're basically taking this area and leveling it.
We're also reducing the total square footage of storage area.
Okay,
And it's a forklift thing for boats.
understand.
Yeah.
Didn't know what you called it, but
I
that
don't know what
makes
you
sense.
call it either.
Yeah. But basically you're leveling it, you're not, and making it a little smaller, you're not doing any other drastic changes. So the only thing is to protect the wetlands from any work you do when you do the work to do the leveling.
And we leave it there for permanent protection.
Okay. All the work is on the far side of Candlewood Lake Road from the lake. Is that correct? You're not
Correct.
doing anything
Across
on
the
the lake
street from the
side?
lake.
That's what it seems. My only questions were those. Thank you.
This looks pretty straightforward to me, Ross. I don't have any other questions.
That's nice.
So I can't give anything. I said, and as you know, we've got, with the state regulations, the 2 weeks. So
I
we'll
understand.
move this over to old business, and we'll take a look at it one more time when we're here in 3 weeks.
Thank you for your time and effort, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. I'll make a motion that we continue 227 Candlewood Lake Road, W-21-13 to our next regular scheduled meeting.
Second.
All right. Thank you, John. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Motion carries unanimous. All righty. 128 Federal Road, W-21-15, a retail commercial building with a drive-through. Is there someone here for that application?
Yeah, Michelle McCauley with Artel Engineering.
Okay, let's just take a quick look at the application, Michelle, here.
Sure.
As soon as it launches here. So you guys are using the old one. I love the old one.
I do everything online.
Yeah, I love the old one. All right, here we go. We've got 1.84 acres on the property, disturbed wetlands, 425 square feet, total wetlands on the area, 16,000 square feet, and disturbed linear feet of water course, 0. All right. All right. Well, Michelle, why don't you tell us what this one is about?
Okay.
And if there's which plan maybe would be the best one to take a look at?
Do you want me, can I share my screen and I'll put it up on my screen for you?
Yep.
Just waiting for her to let me do it.
Sorry, I'm just going to make you a co-host now.
That's fine. Thank you, Allison.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay. Share. Okay. So here, I'll start with this sheet just to give you where we're located. So as you said, it's 128 Federal Road. The site is located at the intersection of Federal Road and the entrance to BJ's and Kohl's. The bank is, shares the entrance. We're proposing a 4,872 square foot retail building, commercial space. We're proposing a Starbucks in the one unit. So we're proposing to have the drive-through come around the rear of the building to service the Starbucks, with access coming off of Federal Road and as well as the entrance that goes to BJ's. The property has the East Brook, that runs in the western portion of the property. You can see it in the rear back here, with flagged wetlands on the periphery of the brook. Jim McManus flagged the wetlands, and I have his on-site soil report in the package that was submitted.
When did he do that recently, Michelle?
He did do it recently. He actually went out a couple times just to verify it. His last time out was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So he's been out there a lot lately. So I'll show you with the grading and utility plan. We're proposing to treat all the stormwater runoff from the proposed parking areas, driveway, building, and 3 subsurface infiltration areas, 1 to the south of the building, 1 to the east of the building, and 1 kind of northwest of the building. It'll capture and hold the 1-year storm fully into the ground, detain it, and it will slowly start to discharge to the wetland area with the 5-year storm, but we're attenuating all the storm flows up to the 25-year storm. We are clipping a little portion of the wetland in the rear of the building. If you can see where I'm pointing, right behind there, and kind of in the south section over here. The 2 areas equal the 425 square feet that we're disturbing. So to offset the disturbance, we've created 2 wetland creation areas, 1 here that's 819 square feet, and 1 right below our proposed wall that's 146 square feet. So we have a 2.3 to 1 ratio of what we're disturbing and replacing. And I submitted planting plans, which I have here. That Abigail Adams from A2 put together some planting plans for the wetland creation and for the rest of the site.
Do you guys have an alternative for this?
I didn't submit an alternative, but we've looked at many iterations. And with the setbacks from the parking from Federal Road and the width of the driveway, the parking and the building, this was the least intrusive plan that we were able to put together. I could probably submit some of the other ones so you could see what we've done, how we came up with this layout.
I would, again, just looking at it here and looking at it for a little bit when it came to my attention over the weekend here, it seems to me the building could be smaller, the building could be slid more to the north, and you wouldn't have to disturb those wetlands. I think that's potentially an alternative. You might not get the square foot of the building that you've got here, but a smaller building swung over to the right, and you can avoid any disturbance of what Mother Nature has put there.
I could look into it for you.
Okay.
I would also wonder, we had another project further up on Federal Road with a similar issue that was regulated by setbacks required from the Federal Road to the parking. And they went back to the town and got a permission to move the parking a few feet closer to Federal Road from the Planning Commission, I think it was. And if you move the whole project what, 4 or 5 feet or whatever that invasion in the wetlands is, that amount, it would take you out of the wetlands.
All right,
Is that
thanks.
something that might be possible?
I have to look into it to see if that's something that is possible.
Thanks for remembering that, Michael.
I worked
Yeah.
on that project.
Yeah, I think you did.
Yes, I get all the fun ones.
Oh, but it's fun having you here.
I enjoy coming to you guys.
So good.
I do have one other question, and because I was not on the commission when it happened, there was a major project, obviously, that I think was the Sam's Club, that required quite a bit of wetlands creation and monitoring for a number of years. Was where you're working here part of that? Are these
No.
wetlands part of that, or was this a whole different area?
No, this is a different parcel. I think I'm not 100%, I'm not too familiar with that, but it might be in the back or the north side of Sam's. I didn't work on it, but this is a separate lot.
Oh, I know it's a separate lot, but I'm talking about the wetlands
No,
behind your lot.
because if you go out there, the site is overgrown brush. There's very few trees out there. The wetland is not a pristine, ideal wetland, and there's been no created wetlands in there or mitigation that's been done in there.
Okay. I didn't know at all. I was just remembered something about it.
Michael, the work that was done is to the north of that, past 132 Federal. So there's 2 properties in between.
Okay.
Yeah, the East Brook has been not cared for, and the West Brook too in some places have not been cared for by a lot of things.
I know you don't like to hear it, but I think even, we're treating a lot of the stormwater runoff. So I think that it's a benefit to the, to the brook now, and all the plantings and stuff that we wanted to help the ecology of the brook. So, because I don't know, when you drive by, you'll see the site. It's just overgrown tall grass. It's not a very pleasant looking site. So I think it'll spiff up the site a little bit.
Well, maybe. I mean, I said we're looking at it here for, like I said, for the first time. I think Michael makes an outstanding, idea here. Maybe you can move the building forward. Again, I think there's some other opportunities to maybe swing it. I said the thing that I try and remember is if whatever it is, if we can make wetlands that have been disturbed or a brook that is not in very good shape, if we can make the whole situation better. And I'm not sure about created wetlands. I'm personally not sure about that. Those are the kinds of things that drive me, if we can make them better, but again, here we're talking about, changing wetlands. So I really would like to have you take a look at some alternatives that don't impact those wetlands. And then also I said, if this is the one that you really want to go forward with, I think one of the things that I will be thinking about, I said, this is is a public hearing for this.
Right. Well, we anticipated that we would have to do a public hearing for this.
All right. All right. Well, that's what I have now. We've heard from Michael, John, Dave.
No, I think you've covered it pretty well.
Okay.
So do you want to see the alternatives before we set the public hearing, or do we want to go ahead and set the public hearing date for it?
Right now, first off, I mean, I would like to, I said, you've been working on this for a little bit, we just got it, Friday morning when I saw it, and I had a chance to look at it a little bit over the weekend. I don't have any problem taking a look, spending a little bit more time with it.
Okay.
I would personally
Mhm.
right now would very much like to see something, an alternative for this property that doesn't destroy those wetlands, the, whatever that is, 400 and some odd square feet of, I personally would really like to see that.
Okay.
That might be
Okay.
in the alternative plan they have.
Yeah, it could be. Well, I
Well.
think, I think Michelle said they don't have one like that yet.
No, it was,
That's exactly-
we had more that were a lot more intrusive into the wetland and created a lot more disturbance. So this was, we tried to kind of squish everything together closer to limit the amount of disturbance we had. And, when we have a retaining wall along, the west side of the driveway to limit the disturbance that we have into the wetlands. We were trying to do everything we can to limit the amount of disturbance.
Could I ask a question? I'm just on the phone. I'm not, I can't see anything. Could you explain again where this is going to be, this building?
So at the light,
I know the property pretty well. I live up the street from it.
Okay.
I'm trying to envision where it's going to be.
So if you're going north on Federal Road and you're sitting,
Yep.
you sit at the light where Savers and Harbor
Mhm,
Freight is,
yep.
and you're going to
Yep.
make the left to go into Kohl's and
Right.
BJ's.
Mhm.
When
Yep,
you make
there's the
that
bank
left,
there.
there's a vacant, brushy site right there. So if you make the left, on your right is a vacant lot. It's kind of across from the bank. It's right at the intersection. Next time you drive by, you'll be,
So
oh,
it's
that's it.
right by the gas station also then.
The gas station's down at the corner. So it's the gas station, the mobile, then you have Harbor, the other bank, you have Harbor Freight, and you have Savers. And then it's across the street where.
Yeah, right. No, I know. I'm talking about the BJ's gas station.
Yes, it's kind of in between Federal Road and the BJ's gas station. Correct.
But it's on the other side of the street from Bank of America.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. I didn't know that could be a parcel.
Yep, it's a part. It was actually two parcel. It was a couple parcels that were all merged together.
And how big is it again?
It's 1.84 acres, the parcel.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, I never even, I thought of it all just vast parking lot, basically.
Yeah, so in between the BJ's parking lot and the gas station and our site is the East Brook. Kind of what
yes.
separates the two of them.
Yep. Yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about, that little waterway there.
Yep.
It's sort of a strange thing because normally you wouldn't even notice there's any water there, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it kind of runs behind all those properties, the Chick-fil-A, the buildings next to us.
Yes. Yep. So this is going to be one story?
Yes. It's going to be a Starbucks where unit 1 will be the Starbucks, and then they'll have, I think they're looking at 2 other units for retail.
Yeah, they haven't decided. No other retailer has put in an offer yet.
No, but the primary objective is for a drive-through Starbucks.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Is it with that Starbucks? Is it the same one that is just down the street? When you're going towards Stu Leonard's, is it the same franchisee? Do you know? Okay,
I believe so.
Because
yes.
the two of them are sort of close together in the scheme of things.
Yes, I think because it's very hard to get in and out of that plaza, and there's no drive-through, and they're looking to relocate.
Oh, are they going to close that other Starbucks?
I think that's the goal, because there's they'll be too close together.
Yeah, no, I mean it's probably like a quarter of a mile or a half mile. Yeah. Okay. Well, theoretically, beyond the wetlands issues, no, it doesn't sound like a bad idea at all.
I can show you the renderings. There are some renderings that they put together for the zoning commission. It looks like it's going to be a very nice building.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All
Okay,
right.
I got it now. I understand. Okay.
All right, Michelle,
Okay.
anything else? Yes, Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, I do have one other thing that I'm always a little concerned with when you have food service close to a wetlands. What's done to prevent trash and other stuff that comes out of a restaurant every day to be dumped into the garbage, to keep that out of the wetlands? I see there's a recycling enclosure on a concrete pad.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the only thing that's anywhere near the wetlands, but is there any attempt to protect the wetlands from anything that might run off from that pad?
Well, it'll be enclosed, so it'll be, fenced in, so that should help contain the refuse inside that enclosure.
Okay.
With the Starbucks, there's going to be inside dining, right, as well as the drive-through.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hopefully, yeah.
And as the is that a stone wall between the wetlands, or is it some sort of a barrier between the wetlands and the cars I see lined up?
Yep. So there's going to be a wall that runs along the driveway. So there'll probably be a fence. We could propose a fence on top of that to also which would catch any litter that might potentially go into.
Well, that's my concern. I mean, I love my fellow Brookfieldians, but occasionally they might throw something out the window.
Yes. Yeah. It's not a very tall wall. It's a couple of feet, but I think it's going to warrant a fence anyway. So there'll be a fence on there, to protect the cars, because it's the driveway's up and then the wetlands lower. So we'll need a fence so that cars don't drive obviously over the wall.
Well, yeah. I understand protecting the cars. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But
and the wall's a little raised, so it's like it'll act as a curb as well.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm also concerned that nothing from the cars out the windows or the cars that might be dripping something from underneath gets into the wetlands, because the road runs right on the wetlands driveway.
Yeah.
There's no buffer between the driveway, the drive-through driveway and the wetlands.
Okay.
The river incidentally runs up the same side of Federal Road, right? It doesn't cross Federal Road. I think it crosses at the big intersection there, Candlewood Lake Road and Federal Road. But once it's on, the BJ's side of Federal Road, it just goes straight up, right?
I believe so.
Well, there are a lot of restaurants that, on that side of the road.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it wraps behind Chick-fil-A as well. So, because you can see it's the blue line. And
yeah, I was thinking of Chick-fil-A, although that's farther away from where the water would be, probably.
I don't know their site plan, so.
But the waterway does run parallel to Federal Road.
I think so, yes.
Okay. That's an interesting waterway because it runs south to north. We're used to waterways that run north to south, and that one goes in the other direction.
I'm not sure that's true, Dave, but that's okay. I think the East
No. Well, I've come across other
myth.
things in the past that pertain to that over the years.
Well, okay.
It's a funny thing because you wouldn't even notice it otherwise. I'm there every week and it's not even noticeable.
I notice it every time I drive.
You do?
I do.
Oh, okay. No, it's one of those odd things, it's been built around and you wouldn't even know there's a waterway there.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, I'll just speak for myself, Michelle. Like I said, just speaking for myself. You guys look at some alternatives. They're not destroying some wetlands. I personally, probably wouldn't see a need for a public hearing, but that's just me.
You wouldn't need need for a public hearing?
I wouldn't think so.
Okay,
So, but again, that's me.
okay.
All right, anything else?
Mm-mm.
All right, just double check. Everyone all right? Okay, well then I'll just make a motion then to continue 128 Federal Road. It's W-21-15 to our next regularly scheduled meeting. Have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. All right, I think that takes us through all the old business. And I think that takes us through the new business, right? So I think we can go back to
everything but the public hearing.
Yeah, so I think let's go back to the public hearing. So I see right now, I said so we're going to reopen a continuation of the public hearing for 45 Obtuse Rocks Roads. So again, if there are any members of the public here for this, we will, after we have some maybe some updates from the applicant, and I do see there are 3 things, Alice, in the after the fact package.
Yes.
I found at the bottom of the agenda. So again, for the members of the public, we're going to go through that. There may be some questions and comments from the commissioner. We will always give anybody, if you've heard anything, any questions that you have of the applicant, we're going to give you an opportunity to do that. And then if anybody wants to speak in favor or speak against, you will have that opportunity here. So I wanted to be sure everybody knew that. All right. Well, I know I see Neil is here. I see, Michelle is here. Is there anybody else for the application here?
Cynthia's here too.
Oh, and
Hi,
Cynthia. Oh, well, welcome, Cynthia. I just noticed you. Welcome. All right. Well, let's see. I have a couple of things, but maybe it's sort of the applicant. You guys have, there's a couple new letters. Maybe you guys want to go over those. And I know Cynthia provided a report. She was out there. We'll give her a chance for an update, update everyone on that. And again, we'll get the opportunity for the commissioners to ask some questions. And then again, we'll go to the public questions and answers. So let me turn to the applicant. Why don't you guys tell us about the new stuff we have to look at?
All right. Michelle McCauley with our Talent Sharing Group. So we submitted, let me just go through. So we have the letter from Cynthia, which we'll wait until we talk to Cynthia about.
Yep.
One of the after facts that I submitted this morning was a letter from the fire chief, Andrew Ellis, who reviewed the plans. And he looked at the width of the driveway, and he recommended that the driveway be a minimum of 18 feet for safety and for access due to the length of the driveway. So I have that letter that, I don't know if you had a chance to review that.
I did. Well, I did see that. The land use office has reminded me every time we get the soft copy of this, we have to go down to the bottom. I print the agenda off, and then I got to go back and look.
Sorry, I got it over the weekend, so I sent it over to her today. So I apologize for the lateness of it. But the last sentence was he recommended the driveway width be a minimum of 18 feet due to safety concerns. So I know that was, I just thought that would be prevalent to
Yep.
the driveway width.
Yep.
Also submitted, I know, a letter from Abigail Adams from A2 Land Surveying. She wrote a letter about the viability of the wetlands. I know that was something that you had looked for. So you have that letter, which she, based on my site walk with Alice and Cynthia and the soil testing that I did as part of Cynthia's review and the location of the wetland created areas, she wrote a letter stating that she felt that there was a high likelihood of success based on all those factors. So that's another letter that was submitted.
Yep.
I also submitted to you I spoke with Eric Davidson, who flagged our wetlands for us, and I was asking him for like an example of a wetland creation area that's been constructed and that's been installed. So he gave me an example of one that he's been in the process for the last 4 years of monitoring after it's been installed. So I know it's a little lengthy, and I know you got it today, but he gave me a project that is ongoing, and I know it's not close, but it's in West Haven, Connecticut. It was a project that he worked with the Army Corps of Engineers with. It was in an industrial building. They added an addition, and they requested, some wetland enhancement and creation areas. So he gave me the report that he did at year 3, and he's working on his year 4 report, because they're doing 5 years of monitoring. And in his email to me, he had said that the Army Corps has reviewed it and it's been very happy with the success. I just thought, it was something that you guys had asked about, so I gave you that to look at.
Yep, I appreciate that.
And then we also submitted a plan that has the updated, like I said earlier, we did percolation tests in the 3 areas of the created wetlands that we're proposing. So I gave you a plan with those results on it. And then the only other thing that was submitted was the letter from Cynthia.
Right.
I think I covered everything that I submitted. There was a lot of stuff.
It goes into the section from the state statute. Commission shall take.
Is there someone trying to talk here? Is it okay? I'm not sure. I hear some noises, but I'm not sure what that's about.
Neil Marcus, I'm sorry. I've got 2 meetings going on, and I forgot to mute the old meeting. You were listening for a second to the Inland Wetlands Commission in Bethel. That's my mistake. Okay. I'm not the best I'm not the best computer operator, but no, I've just been listening in, and I appreciate. I didn't mean to interfere. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, nothing is easy these days with these things. So. All right, I did see that. Anything else, either Neil or Michelle, you guys want to bring to our attention?
No, just, I figure, we can talk about Cynthia's letter. She wants to go over it, and then that was the only other, that was the kind of the important piece that you had asked for Cynthia to review the wetland areas.
Yeah, we definitely want to do that. Let's do that, and then I have a couple questions for sure. So let's Cynthia, you want to give us maybe share what you had a chance to get out there, I understand.
Yes, hi everybody.
Hey, Cynthia.
Things. Yeah, I did get out there. I think it was it last day, I think? Week
before. Yeah.
Yeah. Alice and Michelle and I met out there, and we looked pretty thoroughly at everything. I had a lot of questions, and looked at all the areas that are proposed for the created wetlands. And I followed up after the meeting with Michelle for some additional information that I needed to clarify. And she did go out, she was very accommodating and went out very promptly and did some more drainage tests that I asked for information about. And so, based on everything, do you want me to read this? You don't want me to read this letter. You just want me
I don't know. I think everyone has it.
Right.
I said, but
Yes.
I think everyone's have it. No, I don't think it's necessary to read it. I said, I was just interested. I said, you did get out there and you had a couple of things that you wanted to bring to our attention, right?
Well, I was responding to the concerns that the commission had from the prior meeting about this issue that Alice had given me some concerns that had been raised, and so I was focusing on those, but also the greater context of the created wetlands. So from my perspective, what I was focusing on specifically was what was the drainage going to be? Where was the drainage coming from to get into these created wetlands? What would the hydrology likely be in those wetlands? And the plant species that were proposed for the wetlands. And then there were one or two other questions that I looked at. The stormwater runoff, the driveway, how was that going to be handled? Where was it going to end up? And that ended up being really the answer to the hydrology question for these wetlands, because most of the hydrology, and Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've seen my letter. Most of the hydrology for those wetlands is coming from the upland to the east and southeast of the wetlands, of the existing wetland corridor. So basically from the driveway and from any sloping areas to the east of the driveway, it's all draining down into that low area where the wetlands are now. Correct. So in order to direct that drainage into these created wetlands, Michelle has designed curbing along the, I guess it's the west side of the driveway, so the lower side of the driveway. And there will be curb, so gaps in the curb in 3 locations, which will allow the drainage to make its way down below the driveway and into these 3 wetland areas. And so that's
yeah. Look, can I just go back to make sure I understood?
Yeah,
what you're saying.
please.
So
I may not be as clear.
Yeah, these created, and I have the benefit of the big plan here. So there's the created wetland area that I don't know if you've got the plans here, but you're
1, 2, and 3.
Am I understanding that the water for these created wetlands is going to be coming down the driveway and diverted into them?
A lot of the water will be coming that way, yes. There will probably also at times be some overflow flooding from the existing wetlands and the water course, the intermittent water course there on the other side of the created wetlands during periods of high storm precipitation. But yes, drainage will be coming down the driveway and into these created wetlands, which is where the water is a lot of water is coming down that hillside now, of course. So there shouldn't be any more water and any more runoff coming down that hillside, whether or not the driveway is there. It will still be the same amount of precipitation, the same amount of runoff. It's now going to just be directed a little bit differently. Instead of making its own way down the hillside and entering the main wetland in a number of, well, all along the interface between the upland and the wetland. Now it will be directed into the created wetlands, and then from there, the drainage will continue into the contiguous natural wetland. So
you're not worried then that the normal flow that comes off that hill that they are now channeling into, I said, I think the first one is wetlands 3. Are you worried that the water that gets channeled now into a new creation, wetlands 3, the water's going that way, it's being directed that way. What's the concern about the other wetlands? Are they going to be deprived of the water they are getting today?
I don't believe so, because as I said, the water from these created wetlands will seep into the ground, enter the groundwater, or flow overland from those created wetlands into the existing wetlands. That's my perception. That's my opinion of what will happen.
Okay.
I think really what we're seeing is that the same amount of water over the course of a year, you know, give or take weather, you know, we never know the weather fluctuations.
Right.
It will average out the same amount of water we'll be getting into the wetland. Don't forget the main wetland is also receiving a great deal of water from the south and
right.
the east. So that wetland is not dependent just on the water coming down this hillside where the driveway will be. And that water is not being cut off by any means. That's the way I see this.
And we have where the intermittent water course is, and a little further north, we still have the open box culvert, which is still allowing the wetland to continue to be fed from the same areas into the wetland.
Okay, so let me just, I just want to make sure I really understand then. So wetland, let's just talk about wetland 3, I think. Wetland 1, 2, 3. Well, and 2, right? The 2 that are sort of halfway up the driveway, and because there's another one down by the. Yeah, there's another one down by the roadside. I just want to make sure I really understand the way it's set up. The water for those wetlands only comes from the driveway. Is that what I heard?
No, that's not what
okay.
I didn't mean to imply that was the only water. A significant amount of it will come that way. But there will also still be some coming from the south, and also some overflow when the main wetland is in a flood state, which will happen at certain times of the year after, you know, big storm events. That's what wetlands do. That's what they're for. They take the excess flood water, they slow it down. So there will be some water coming from the main wetlands into those created wetlands as well at those times of flood.
And that's what like I said, what some of the sheep fall from the drive, that's what's got your interest with the no salt and the maintenance, right? The maintenance.
Right.
Have you seen wetlands where, like, are there wetlands in this area, or have you seen wetlands in other places that were sort of designed this way, kind of relying on a little bit of driveway and being a success?
Well, I haven't seen anything exactly like this, no.
Okay.
So it's hard to compare because every situation is different. And,
right.
And it's not an exact science. I mean, I have to be honest, it isn't an exact science. And I think that more studies like we heard that Eric Davison is doing, more of that needs to be done. But
I have read about nine or 10 different articles, and I can't remember the gentleman that did it. And they said, yeah, no, creating these things is not a science. It's a little bit of an art. And they are not, you know, even the best intentions, they don't always work.
Well, I listen, I'm not here to advocate one way or another on this. I'm trying to.
Yeah, no. And I wasn't trying to ask you to do that. So I wasn't trying to ask you to do that.
Oh, no, I realized that you weren't, Sharon. That's fine. I'm just saying. But I do think that these kinds of features are necessary. And I think they're a very good alternative to what we did years ago, which was basically not try to create bioinfiltration. I mean, you can call these bioinfiltration areas, you could call them, elaborate rain gardens, or you can call them created wetlands. I don't think the name really makes any difference, but they do function in that bioinfiltration capacity and help. We need as many of them as possible. That's my personal opinion coming in now.
and professional. So, all right. Well, thank you very much for that. Let me ask John, Michael, Dave, questions for Cynthia?
No, I'm pretty good with what she said.
Okay.
Seems to me what you're saying, created wetlands. Actually, let me start that again. What I would wonder and ask you is, whatever the wetlands do, and we all know how important they are in protecting the environment, the purpose of the wetlands that are being taken away, what they do, will that function be replaced adequately by the created wetlands? I think that would be the question to ask.
Well, I have to be honest, I haven't examined any areas of wetland that are going to be taken away. My focus and my charge, I should say, for this review was to look at these specific wetlands to say whether they would have a strong likelihood of functioning as wetlands. So I'm not
Understood.
in a position to answer that question.
Okay.
But also, I would say that if you need to have that kind of information, that you would first need to have probably the wetland scientist for the project do a functions and values assessment of natural wetlands. And oh my goodness, I could really go off on a tangent here, but for the sake of everybody in listening, I don't want to become too professorial about this. Let's see how can I say this? There are many different functions and values of wetlands. There's a fairly long list of them according to the Army Corps of Engineers highway methodology, which is what most of us use in Connecticut. And so, and not all wetlands have all of those functions and values. Some of them only have one or two or a handful. And because these are new wetlands, I would, and having thought about them a lot, I would say their main functions are going to be stormwater retention to a certain extent. They're going to capture stormwater runoff from the hill above, slow it down, which will help with downstream offsite flooding. There will be habitat and water quality functions. So those are three fairly important functions that wetlands have, and I believe that these areas will provide some of that.
Understood. And I didn't mean to ask you something that was outside of your purview or in any way criticize your
Oh, no, you're not.
knowledge. Oh, okay. Thank you, though, for the information you've given us.
I just want to add that Eric Davidson did do the functions and values, and I had put that in the January 20th letter where he assessed the wetlands and did the functions and values of it.
And he talked about the functions and values of the created wetlands replacing what was adequately replacing what will be removed.
Oh, and he talked about the functions and values of the existing wetlands and the habitat and what we were proposing.
Okay. And where was that?
It was in a letter that I submitted on January 20th. Or the letter was dated January 20th. I have to look. It was submitted there.
Letter to
to Sharon.
What's that?
It was a letter that I had addressed to you.
Oh,
In the commission.
yeah, well, yeah, to the commission, so.
No, I see the letter and I will review it.
Cynthia, Michael has got me onto one more question. Do you think these created wetlands might provide some wetlands habitat for frogs and?
Yeah, it's possible. It's definitely possible. I'm not.
Yeah,
I can't say for sure, but it's
okay.
definitely going to provide habitat. For which specific creatures, I can't say, but there definitely will be habitat for certain kinds of creatures that like the wetter environments, from microorganisms in the soil, which are very important, and to the larger, animals, the aquatics, as you've mentioned, the frogs, and I mean, who knows? I've seen vernal pools created by human activity, just kind of accidentally creating vernal pools. The one that was the most striking was literally a backhoe, an excavation pit that was never filled in. And it became a vernal pool. And, the excavation pits tend to slope a little bit. They're not all the same depth. And over the years, this excavation pit became a vernal pool. It was able to support the species. It was really interesting. And it was a completely man-made thing. And so I would, depending on the actual hydrology that develops, you will definitely see animals, and
we've had neighbors, because participate in the public hearing, and people who live around it there, and they say that this is a very noisy area for frogs. So they have several members of the public have said they've seen a lot of birds. They hear a lot of frogs, and I assume all the other people that live with frogs and eat them live there. So, all right. Anything for us, Cynthia?
No, thank you for asking.
Okay. Okay. I've got a couple questions, but I don't need to go right now. Let me ask Dave, John, Michael, other questions for the applicant. I said I got a couple things I want to ask them, but I'll go after you guys.
No, I'm good for right now. Go ahead, ask your questions.
John, Michael.
I've done my thing. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, last week we got a letter. This is for Neil and Michelle. We did get a letter from one of the neighbors. They asked some questions that I couldn't answer. One of which was the date this lot was created. Do either of you know that approximately? I didn't, but it was a question.
I have to ask Neil, but
my recollection is that this lot was created sometime around 1968. Unfortunately, I don't have that file. Oh, hold on a second. I do. Hold on. I do. It was all explained in the letter to Tom Beecher, where he ruled that it was a separate lot. We gave all the dates in the history of the title. Let me see if I can find that. I've got a lot of files here at the moment.
I believe.
Let's see if I've got title. And I think it was about 1968 that the subdivision map was filed on the land record. And I'll stick with that date, sometime in 68.
All right, thank you for that. Okay, I had a couple questions. Michelle, I found a description of guardrails back over on, sheet 6. You got a couple of A, B, and C kind of guardrails. They're like wooden guardrails. you know, you have, sheet 3 is an incredible, and 4 are incredibly busy. I couldn't find where, are they going to be installed? And if so, where?
I gotta look. Hold on one second, Karen.
You're really very funny. Like I said, I'm borrowing this, so I mean, I had.
Oh, I'm sorry if am I hitting buttons?
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, I was looking because you're usually, you know, I'm looking all through the notes, and I said you got 700 of them, or maybe ish. And I didn't see where these guardrails go.
I think that might be my error.
Okay.
That when I had the larger subdivision plan with the multiple lots, that I had some guide rails on those driveways, and I didn't remove the detail.
Okay, so it looks like, okay, well, one of the reasons I am asking is because I'm particularly looking at, you know, like wetlands flag 70, you know, 75 or 78, 76 and 77, you know, right where this driveway crosses the wetlands. One of the things I am thinking about is, like I said, maybe protecting the wetlands. Everybody knows that even with a driveway of maybe 18 feet, trucks do go, you know, they do go off.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I am thinking about, you know, for that particular area is a guardrail in that area, whether it's wood or whether, you know, a stone wall might even be, you know, useful.
So we have a stone wall there, so I can put a guide rail on top of that stone wall to delineate it.
Well,
and make sure that no one goes over, you know, beyond the wall, edge of the wall.
That is one of the things that I am, like I said, that I am thinking about here. I mean, and I respect the fire department here, and I respect they have big trucks, and I respect that it's a big, huge, long driveway. You know, but there might be some possibilities for some accommodations here, you know, 18 feet. And, you know, because now you'd be, you know, even to put a guardrail, you know, now you got to go even further into the wetlands. So we might look at some accommodation here. You know, guardrails are not 3 feet, 6 feet wide. You know, there might be some accommodation in the actual width of that driveway, you know, right around wetlands flag 78, 77, and 76.
So what if so we have a wall there. What if we build that wall up taller so that it makes so that people can't, we have a rock wall and we make that rock wall taller?
Something, you know, to be sure these trucks, and you might even look, I said, these created wetlands, they look like they're right on the driveway as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think we got to think about, I think we have to think about some physical protection there for everybody's benefit. I mean, trucks do not want to get over in wetlands, that's for sure.
Well, I don't want to completely shut off like the guide rail from the sorry about that.
I got one there too, so don't worry. I know
she's trying to play with my pen. We don't want to cut the created wetlands off completely, because so we have the curbing along the driveway. We want to be able to have the critters get into the wetland created areas or walk along the driveway and get into the wetland areas. So I don't know if like we don't want a physical barrier along the whole driveway because of the critters, of the animals.
All right. Well,
and I know that was a recommendation from Ed Pollock a while back of having the Cape Cod curbing, or, you know, so it's a lower curbing so that animals have easier, frogs and such have easier time to get over the curbing to get into the wetland area. And I don't know if you want to put it necessarily along the driveway in front of the wetland creation areas, because we want the water to flow into the wetland creation areas from the driveway.
Well, like I said, I don't know. It's hard for me to see precisely where all this curbing is, you know, your asphalt curbing. I said, that's what your diagram actually shows, some wooden guardrails.
Okay. Yeah, so the curbing is along that whole western side of the driveway.
Not western, yeah. And so
the side on the lower side along the wetland, there's curbing along that whole edge.
So right,
it's
so
just
there
hard. The line is a little thicker, so that it's a little hard, but there is curbing along that whole edge.
But that's the regular, what's like 4 inch curbing, asphalt curbing. That's what you're planning.
Well, it's a Cape Cod curbing, so it's not as high, so it's more rounded so that animals can get over it.
And maybe a truck tire could get over it.
Or a truck tire, but I know it was something
Yeah.
that when Ed Pollock had reviewed the plans, it was something he requested.
Well, I think it's a good idea. I mean, I think we certainly want to have, because these wetlands, that was one of the questions that, this bothering me too. Like I said, wetlands, but that's another question. But I think we might want to think about, like I said, some physical barrier here. Like I said, maybe it's a wooden guardrail.
Okay.
It's not a stone wall. It's a wooden guardrail to keep, like I said, the inevitable snowplow,
What
heck.
about like a picket fence or something that's, more, that you could do as a barrier to keep people?
I think I'm open to something,
Okay.
but again, let's think about, like I said, these guys, they come at night, to deliver packages. I mean, we all have it, I got it on my driveway. Everybody's got it on it. The guys do their best, but they run off the driveway.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, I get it.
So something to take a look at.
Okay.
What sheet, I was looking for the details of the open box culvert, and the installation for these open box culvert. I mean, you got a construction sequence that just says put them in. What kind of trucks are putting them in? Do you guys have to get into the wetlands to install these? Is there some detail about exactly what those activities are, that particularly as it relates to making sure the wetlands right around there aren't impacted in this construction?
I can get a more detailed detail. It's a box culvert that they'll probably so it's it's a rectangular box culvert, and they'll probably have a crane or to place them, and you set it in the ground and you lower it so that you wanted it open bottom so the water can flow freely and that the animals can walk through it. So they'll have to set it into the ground to get it.
But you got to excavate around that so you can drop that in, right?
Right.
Well, that's a part of, like I said, if you can add to the construction sequence there to say, okay, this is what they're going to have to do. We're going to have to excavate, I don't know. Again, I don't know how wide these things, do I know how wide these things are? Are they here?
They're 3 feet wide, 2 feet high.
Okay.
It's noted on the plan on sheet 3.
Right. Okay. All right, but just something I said they're going to have to dig out here. I don't know that they're going to take that dirt off site. Where does that dirt go? You're going to put it in the upland review area. Just give me some more details on how those things are going to be installed.
Okay, and they're under the driveway, so there'll be, that area will be disturbed when they're constructing the driveway. So it's all within the disturbance area we're showing. They shouldn't have to go beyond the disturbance area we show.
That's what I want. That's the kind of stuff I want to have documented.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm kind of interested. I said this is only the second time I have seen a driveway in wetlands. We had one other project a couple of weeks ago. This driveway was a tree farm, and that driveway had been put down decades ago. So I don't actually know how it was installed. What are you guys going to have to actually do to put this driveway in that wetlands? Are you going to have to excavate there, or are you going to have to go down a couple of feet and put process in, or what's the strategy to put that driveway over that, right, I said right between wetlands flags 78, 77, and 76? What are you going to have to do to make sure that driveway or their asphalt doesn't cave in? What's got to happen there? And I looked for that and I didn't see that documented either.
Well, it's going to be, your typical driveway. It'll have processed, you're going to have processed stone, and then you'll have the pavement on top of it. And we are pretty close to existing grades, so there won't be a lot of excavation into that area. And that's the fringes of the wetland right there. So, Alice might, verify if she was out there, but it's not it's the soils are wet once you start digging down, and since we're kind of at grade, I don't foresee any issues when they install the driveway. I know that Cynthia had used her auger, and even when I did the percolation tests, I dug down 2.5 feet for the percolation test in the created wetland areas, and I didn't come across, like, the soil was moist, but it wasn't there wasn't groundwater. I didn't hit groundwater. So I don't foresee having too many issues when they install the driveway in that area, because it's right on the cusp of the wetlands. So, you know, there was obviously some soils he saw that he flagged it, but I don't think it wasn't saturated. I don't know if that
Okay,
helps.
well, I think, yeah, we both have the same, you know, sort of motivation here. We want to be sure this is a success where it is, and we don't have to worry about, you know, 20 years from now when all of us are gone, you know, and suddenly we find that they're going to have to, you know, this is failing. So again, I would ask the same thing. Can you describe how deep are you going to have to go? Is this your professional opinion, you know, that this is going to be a success? You know, and that there won't be any need to expand this driveway further into the wetlands because it wasn't designed correctly, or wasn't, you know, or the specifications weren't right.
Okay. I can
Okay.
write something up for you.
All right.
I don't foresee, like I said, because they'll probably dig down a foot to put in the stone, and because that area of the driveway is right on existing grade. So, you know, I think he's going to have to excavate out a foot, maybe 2 feet maximum. And my opinion from being out there, especially the soil was, you know, it was a lot of snow melt when we were out there, and there was snow. And you know, could see the wetland functioning, and that I don't foresee him hitting groundwater when he has to install it. And you know, the stone will, you know, help drain the soils and hopefully will protect the driveway.
Okay. All right, well, let's get, if we can, like I said, I obviously said that I hope that's what I want. I said, I always want to make sure this works, right?
Yep, no,
and let's get that documented, and your professional opinion that, you know, that this is it and it's going to work and there won't be any problems. There shouldn't be any problems that we're aware of.
Right.
Where's this one? I was going through the, like I said, the maintenance schedule here on sheet 4.
Yep.
And I can see, like I said, there's, you know, you got a number of steps here. You got like every 3 months inspections of catch basins, every 3 months inspections of the landscape areas and the banks, and every 6 months, and, you know, sweeping and removal of sediment.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got rain gardens are to be inspected annually.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you've got every month of the first year, the infiltration system has to be inspected. I would say one of the things I'm going to be interested in, I said, is, you know, is a reporting, you know, some annual reports.
Okay.
On, you know, on this maintenance plan, you know, and we'll pick a month, whether it's the, you know, December after they get the, you know, the first December after the CO, or if that's, or, you know, anywhere between, you know, 8 and 15 months after the CO, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there would be a report that said this all got done by reputable people, and here's where we stand, and then here's what, you know, the remediation is going to be. You know, as well, I said, they talk about the rain garden here. You know, that it's recommended every 5 to 10 years, the owners of the rain gardens, you know, implement cleaning and maintenance and
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing. So if you want to take the opportunity to, again, take some of my ideas and maybe augment that.
Okay. So
you know,
we also, I know Abigail had put together a monitoring information, you know, of yes.
Yeah, she's got I didn't, you know, I see the monitoring, I don't see the reporting.
Okay. I'm just trying to think, did you want me to come up with some sort of like form that we should fill out, or like, and how long, like for the monitoring of like the wetland creation areas, I think we did 5 years in Abigail's monitoring. Is like, how long do you want to do monitoring of the maintenance of the catch basins and the driveways? You know, like, you you know,
I would think that, that could be like, 5, that could be 5 years. Your rain garden says, talks up to 10. Your maintenance plan talks up to 10 years. So, I would probably go with what you've got in your, in your maintenance plan here. There'll probably be some reports, 5 years and 10 years out. I assume these rain gardens, you're talking about the
wetland creation areas.
Yeah. So we would probably want some reports, as I said, to match, what you've got in your plan here.
Okay. And that's just, you think that's just a report that we submit to like Alice for her, like once a year?
Yeah, it would be to the commission. Yeah, it would be
to
to the commission. So,
okay. I think trying to remember, I think we came up with some sort of form for different projects that we had
did.
pictures.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
something similar to that. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, I would think it could even be it could even be a checklist. It could be, like I said, your maintenance plan says item 1, inspection of the catch basin. It could be a checklist that says every 3 months, so this is, I said, we'll pick, December, for example, and we'll say these were inspected in September, and they were inspected in June, and they were inspected in March, and all was well, okay. It could be just like a form that has a checklist. Item number 1. We had to do, these were inspected, and the little blanks for the dates, something like that.
Okay.
And then probably who did the work.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
And again, I'm just thinking about as much as we. Hey, Abigail, I'm just thinking about as much as we can get. These are my ideas. I said to give you an opportunity to maybe get these things documented. So. My next question, Abigail, is actually for your stuff.
Okay, can I jump in on the monitoring though while we're on it? For the record, Abigail Adams, registered landscape architect, A2 Land Consulting out of New Fairfield. On sheet L4, sheet L-103, I have project long-term wetland monitoring and maintenance plan, which spells out exactly when you'll be getting reports. It spells out the 5 years of monitoring, the pre-construction, the post-construction, and every year, and receiving reports between this month and this month. It is spelled. I just want to let you know it's not. We don't need to recreate that because it's specifically on the plan.
Okay. Well, maybe I missed it. I did print out your plan. I have it right here.
Oh, you couldn't read it?
Oh, I have it right here.
I
didn't print that out, but I actually probably didn't get to sheet 103. So.
Okay. Yep. On the right-hand side, it's actually spelled out, hopefully quite clearly.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at that. Does that include, like the catch basins and all that?
This is specifically for the created wetland monitoring and maintenance plan.
Okay, so still, Michelle, and here's my suggestion. Again, I'm just one person. Michelle, we might want to come up with a template.
Yeah.
For items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
6, 7, and 8.
7 and 9. Because Abigail said she's got 6 taken care of.
Right. Okay.
Well, Abigail, I was looking at your, I was looking at this, again, the created wetlands and the monitoring.
Mm-hmm.
This talks about planting plans, notes, details, and sheet L-104.
Yes. Well, I believe it's L-103.
Okay, because I looked, that's why.
It's my 4th sheet, so that's my mind's not functioning properly.
All right, well, that's why I printed this out, because I want to say, okay, let me just take a screenshot of this because I'm not seeing 104. So you're saying that your report, page 7, that shouldn't refer to L104, it should refer to 103.
That is correct.
Yeah.
All right, could you maybe send us that correction?
Yeah.
So we have it.
And that was in the maintenance plan?
Yeah, you refer to it. It's on your page 7 of 7.
Okay.
It's agenda, it's bullet C.3, created wetlands.
Got it.
Yeah, the monitoring, see the approved planning plans, notes and details on L 104, but you really meant 103.
I did.
Okay. And does that take it out 10 years?
5. I think I have 5, not 10. 10 is 10 is excessive.
Yeah, it's most monitoring plans, and even the one that I gave you from Eric as an example was 5 years. That the Army Corps required 5 years of monitoring.
I appreciate that. Cynthia, maybe I put you on the spot if you're still with us. I see you there. I don't know if you're still with us. I don't know. Do you have any advice for us? Monitoring these 5 years up to 10? I don't know.
I think that 5 years is a good enough amount of time to be able to see what the hydrology is that's developing there, if there's any, organic matter developing, which would be a good thing, and whether the plant species, how the plant species are thriving. I believe that there will be some settling out of the species, because this is always what happens. You put in a lot of different kinds of species with different tolerances for the different levels of hydrology, and over time the plants will sort themselves out. Those that like the conditions will thrive more, and possibly even propagate themselves into the adjacent wetlands, which I noticed, that are not very rich. I mean, I didn't do a thorough study and it wasn't the growing season, but they don't look very rich in species. So some of these species might, so those are the kinds of things. And in 5 years, I think you can get a good idea of what's happening. 10 years is more of a PhD thesis, I think. It's excessive.
All right. Well, thank you for that. I know we put you on the spot, so thank you for that. The other thing I was thinking about, I'm going through this plan, looking at like I said, I'm looking at the house, and we've got, you've got the I've got the house. Maybe I'm looking on this. It would be on the north side of the house where you've got the septic system. It looks like there's a grade. You got a grade down into the, grade down into like wetlands flag 38, 39, and 42. That's a grade you're having to build, right, to get that septic.
Yes.
And so you're having to build that out. What I was looking to see, what's the plan? Are you going to have, were you thinking about just putting some grass in there? And let me tell you, one of the things I am thinking about is, because that's kind of a built grade, and kind of into the wetlands. So if you're thinking about grass, I might be thinking about, maybe some monuments, along like maybe 424 or 426,
it's some
as a
grass.
part of the.
Sorry,
yeah,
it'll be grass, and Abigail showed some plantings at the bottom of that slope to kind of delineate the end of that grading. So it's in between the end of the grading and the wetland flag. So if you look at her sheet 102, L102, you could see the plant at the bottom of that slope.
All right. Well, I'll go back and look. Like I said, I'll go back and look at that. But I'm very interested in, like I said, trying to keep that grass right from the edge of the wetland.
Okay.
So
So you're
I'll go
thinking.
take a look at. Yeah, and maybe over time not having grass, which it does, right?
Right.
Creep. So.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what the planted barrier will be a nice way to say, this is the end of the grass, here's your plantings, so that protects the wetland there.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'll go take a look at that, but I said that is an area that's very close to that wetland. I am thinking there might be some benefits in installing some monuments there.
Okay.
For in perpetuity, you know, and maybe back from the wetlands. That's what I was looking at, maybe 424 or 426, you know, that line that grade there, you know, maybe I'll go and take a look at Abigail.
Can also think about, you know, like we talked about earlier, doing like a split rail fence, you know, do the plantings and do the split rail fence that will, you know, put you know, definitely define where the end of the grass and the plantings are.
Yeah, we had problems with split rail fences. They don't, you know, they're wood and they go away.
Okay.
So, so I'll go and, like I said, I'll go and take a closer look, but I'm also thinking about, like I said, you know, you've got, you know, these lines of disturbance. I think we might want to, you know, one of the things I'm also thinking about, I said, making some of these permanent, you know, particularly as they're close to the wetlands, those might end up being like permanent lines of disturbance. So that's what was on my mind. I'd like to, unless some of what I have said or we've heard from Abigail or Michelle have sparked some questions from John, David, or Michael.
Nope, I'm okay for right now.
All right. So let me turn it over. Anything else for us, Neil or Michelle or Abigail?
No.
Okay. Let me ask, I said, anyone on from the public that has a question about the application, anything you may have heard tonight? Again, a question about this?
I have one question, Sharon. It's John Benta.
Yep.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I got the wetlands or the proposed new wetlands that are going to be built. Are they built after or before the driveway is put in? In other words, are we gonna remove the wetlands that's there, disturb what's there, and then make new wetlands? Or are we gonna make the new wetlands first, see how that goes, and then disturb the wetlands that's there?
They get installed as part of the construction of the driveway.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't do the work unless you get the driveway to get in there. So
Right.
basically, the wetlands, it's all one project. It's done at the same time.
I see.
Yeah.
But it all has to be done, Mr. Bento. The whole project has to be done, you know, before they would get, in this particular case, probably a CO.
All right. So would the actual construction of the home start before or after the new wetlands is put up? I understand the driveway.
Well, to be able to do the home, you have to put the driveway in because it's a long run. And when to grade out the driveway, part of grading out the driveway, you would grade out the wetland areas. So, you know, you would work your way in to do the house.
No, I understand. I understand the driveway. You know, you have to get access to start the new wetland area. But as far as any other construction, because we don't know, we don't have a positive, yeah, this is going to work. So why are we going to disturb anything else before seeing if it actually does work?
Yeah, no, they have a construction sequence here, Mr. Bento, and they talk about putting the driveway in, clearing, grubbing. I just read it here. The drainage facilities, the rain gardens are done early and they're done before the house is put in. That's what's in their construction sequence.
Oh, all right. I don't have that in front of me, but all right, I understand.
Yeah.
One other question I had. I know there's a 5-year monitoring period. What happens if it fails within the 5 years?
There's provisions within the monitoring. Abigail might be able to speak of it, but if plants aren't taking during, you know, every year you do a monitoring, so you replace the plant. There's steps to ensure that the wetlands areas take.
Correct. So we would go through and we would we would assess what plant material is thriving and what plant material is not, and whatever is not thriving would be replaced. Sorry, my cat is also interrupting the meeting.
The cat night.
Cat night.
Sorry, yeah, so we would do an inventory, and then what's not thriving would be replaced, or we would, to Cynthia's point, some things sort of die out and other things take over. If there's something else that seems to be thriving that's native, we would let that continue and count that towards, as long as it's thriving and it's functioning properly.
And as, all right, thank you very much for that. I mean, it's, the elevation of that driveway, is it higher or lower than the wetlands that are being put in? Do we know that? Because I know that area where the wetlands is being put in is, like Cynthia said, prone to flooding certain times of the year.
The grades tie into existing grades, so we're creating a almost like a bowl. So if the wetland floods, it will flood into the wetland creation area. But the driveway is up higher and it slopes down to the wetland.
And going into the driveway to the left of the driveway, there's no wetlands there that we're concerned that's going to be deprived of water.
I think Cynthia went over all that. She feels that we're going to be okay.
Well, I'm talking about if it holds water, more water between the driveway and the wetlands that is being created, which will be sort of like a pool. Would it deprive the other wetlands from water, or will that have culverts underneath the driveway to the other?
There's culverts that will continue, so the water can continue to feed the wetlands. So the wetland will continue to function.
Okay. I did briefly take a look at the designs, and I saw very impressed with the old design and the landscape maintenance. One thing I was wondering is those little small lines that go around. I guess that's the upland review.
That is on the plan. Yep, the upland review area. Yep.
Is there any way of moving the house away from that upland review where the barn and everything is, to sort of center it where it's as far away as possible from the upland review area?
Well, the house, 75% of the house is located outside of the upland review area.
Yes, but the other 25%, is there any way of making it 100% outside the upland review area?
Well, I have some steep slopes behind, like it's basically a sheer face rock wall that is the house is up against. And we're kind of in a valley in between a ridge. So the house is situated in that ridge, in that valley.
And that would be pushing it if we're walking in the driveway. If we're looking at the map, if you're looking at the driveway, I don't know, I would say bring it down south, further south where the upland review area is wider.
Well, we only have a few, it's very limited, and I have the vernal pool to the south. So we're trying to protect the vernal pool. So the house is pushed further away from the vernal pool.
So the vernal pool was inside that upland review area or outside the upland?
It's in the wetland area to the south.
That's what repositioning the house on the property is a no-go because it can't be done.
Correct.
Well, John, it not only it's that it can't be done, it's not going to have any impact one way or another on the wetlands or water courses. So,
all right, understood.
That's the main concern.
Understood. All right. I have no other questions. Thank you guys for everything.
Great, thank you, Mr. Bento. Anyone else from the public have questions about the application? Anybody want to speak in favor of the application? Anyone want to speak in opposition?
I'm still in opposition because I'm not an advocate for destroying wetlands, but you guys have to do what you have to do.
Well, we have to operate, within the laws of the state of Connecticut, so that does provide, yeah, it does provide us with some,
No, I understand. I understand, Sharon. I don't want to give any, my opinion is my opinion on wetlands. It doesn't matter.
I feel very strongly about them as well. And some of this hurts my head. All right, let's just take a look. What are we doing here with the time frames here? Let's take a look. So we've got a decision, a public. Help me, Alice, here. We've got a decision date of March 29th. That's what's written here. Can someone help me with the arithmetic? Is that the close of the hearing?
Yeah, that's the close of the hearing.
Okay.
It started February 22nd and it needs to close by March 29th.
That's okay. That's what I wanted to be sure. Thank you so much. Is everyone clear on that? You know, the current close date is the 29th of March, which is next week.
Next week.
Before the next meeting.
Yeah, right. So let me ask Neil and Michelle and Abigail. Like I said, you've heard some things I've talked about. Michael has talked about. Do you guys want more time to think about some of that and bring the material back on the 12th and therefore an extension, or what would you like to do?
It would seem to me at this point that you've got enough information from the public to close the public hearing. It can always, you're talking about basically conditions that would be attached to an approval, some of which are already in Abigail's plan. We didn't realize it, but they're already there. So to the extent that any action would incorporate the provisions of all the plans and maps and everything that have been submitted, you've got a lot of what you're looking for. If you want to attach other conditions that talk about any of the issues you've discussed with Michelle, I don't see any need to hold the public hearing open. They could be just reasonable conditions of approval, and we're not going to object to them if they're reasonable conditions. At this point, I think that we've got to bring this thing to a conclusion, actually.
All right, so no extension. Okay. All right, well then I said with that, then we're forced to close the public hearing. So someone want to make that, so let me ask my colleagues, anything else before I said, so, you know, we have a lot of record from what has been presented. We have the state of Connecticut regulations, which everybody knows about. Everybody knows about as of right and what is and what isn't as of right. So that's all just a matter of everybody understands that. So with that, someone would like to make a motion to close this public hearing.
Could I ask one quick question? Once the hearing is closed, what would be the deadline for a decision?
It's, as I recall, it's 35 days after that.
After the closing. Okay, thank you. I would make a motion to close the public hearing on the matter of 45 Obtuse Rocks Road, item number W-21-2.
Second.
All right, thank you, Michael. Thank you, John. All right, any discussion? All right, all those in favor of closing the public hearing signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimous. Public hearing is closed. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, well then we're going to return to our agenda here. Tabled items, nothing. Correspondence. I think, Alice, we haven't heard yet from Milburn and McBroom, I think, for that letter from the Keens and the Flemings and 6 Hollow Oak Lane. That's still pending. Is that right? I didn't see any reply.
We did get that. I thought it was on
Wait,
the
I didn't-
agenda.
Okay.
It says there was a response.
Oh, okay. Well, let's keep it on the agenda. The hour is late. We'll take a look at it because we'll take a look at it in our next meeting. How does that sound to everybody?
Right.
Is that all right, Alice?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay.
There's a,
Okay.
I do have a question, Alice, in what I printed out, it says the response letter to Keen and Fleming from Tecton dated March 8th. Do we have that letter?
I believe.
Oh, here it is. Yes.
There.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
I
on the
just opened
agenda.
it.
Okay.
Oh, that was a letter to you, not to the people.
Because I was the one who sent it on to Malone and McBroom and to Municipal Building.
But I did read it, and they seem to answer the questions that were in the original letters.
Yes, and Mr. Keen has read it, and he feels it answered his questions as well.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if it's necessary to maintain this on our schedule if both Mr. Keen
No,
and
maybe
Mr.
not. I said
Fleming have received a response.
I think you're right. I think I misread what that one was. So it is here.
And whether or not the response is adequate from their point of view, he certainly answered all the questions. You say Mr. Keen has already agreed that his questions were answered. Did you hear from Mr. Fleming?
Ms.
Sorry.
They were together, yes. They both felt that it answered their questions.
Then I think we are done with the issue as far as what we can do.
I think you're right, Michael. Thank you for calling that out. I misread who was sending what where. All right. Well, terrific. All right. So that can come off. Thanks to our commission secretary there. All right. So on to the previous minutes.
Okay to me.
Yeah, I didn't see anything dramatic. I don't know necessarily that I was as if I was as direct as saying they can proceed, to do what they wanted, even though I hope I said that right, that they have approval, but there were some pending stipulations. I was thinking about the school, the school project. I know they do a lot of projects, so they must have known that even though they have approval, there were some pending stipulations. But other than that, I'm okay with March 8th. Someone want to make a motion?
I'd make a motion that we accept or approve the minutes of the March 8th, 2021 Inland Wetlands Commission meeting as published.
All right, thanks,
I'll
Michael.
second.
All right, thanks, Dave. All right, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimous. Informal discussions. I have a big pile of riparian buffer stuff here. Things calm down at work, so I'm going to put that together for us. It's about a 3-inch pile of material. Road maintenance impact to wetlands.
I had some questions on that, which Alice sent me some information which answers my questions as to, I had a number of why is that type of questions.
Yeah, was that the one about we don't use salt, we use something else?
We don't use salt, and one of my questions is why can't we use sand? And there are a number of reasons. It doesn't last long enough. It goes away quickly and tends to clog drains and other things. So my questions were answered satisfactorily in that matter. Not that I'm particularly happy, because somebody should invent something that would in no way affect the wetlands and yet keep the roads dry, and that we can afford. And short of putting heating wires under all our roads, I can't think of anything.
There you go. There's an
That
idea.
will come someday, electric wires along the roads. That's sort of in the future.
You know, I've been reading some books on solar power, and we are actually using only a fraction of 1% of the amount of energy that the sun sends to the earth. We just have to figure out how to use the rest.
So, well, let's leave it on. I know it was of interest to Mark as well, and he, he's not here tonight, so we'll just leave that on, okay, until he has a chance to weigh in. Other than that, gentlemen, I think we are done. Someone want to make a motion to adjourn? All right, John
I'll
makes
make a motion to adjourn.
I think I heard. I think you're late, Dave. I think John made the motion.
Well,
No.
excellent. Good
I want
job,
to make
John.
a comment.
I'll
I want to
second.
make a comment.
Oh, comment. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Somebody
okay.
posted online today, hey, what's going on with Huckleberry Hill? They put that online. They had no idea anything was happening. I don't know what planet they're on, but
Tell them they should come listen in on our meetings.
I
As
know.
Sharon has said, it's better than anything on TV.
Okay.
There's so much to know. You can't know everything, though. There's so much to know. You can't know everything.
Hey, Dave, you can make the motion.
I'll make a
All right.
motion.
Well, thank
to
you for the
adjourn.
comment, John. John did make the motion. Dave seconds that. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, guys. We are
Have a
adjourned.
wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thanks,
Night.